We can run through this start list one more time before the starter's gun. Starting from the inside out, Gerado Villarreal, Shintaro Nakazono, Ayan Nohili, representing the Atlanta Track Club in the red over black, Roberto Marquez, Clayton Dakacek from the Minnesota Distance Elite, Alexander Korczynski, Parker Stokes, as we said, from the Brooks Beasts, Casey Comer, Under Armour Baltimore Distance, Alec Basten, Under Armour Baltimore Distance, Joey Berriatua from Tinman Elite, Cesar Daniel Gomez Ponce from the Galgos Tepa, Mexico, Isaac Updike from Under Armour Dark Sky Distance, Dan Michalski from the Air Force WCAP, Duncan Hamilton, there wearing the red over black of the Nike Bowerman Track Club, Jackson Mestler, Aaron All, Roberto Marquez, and we did not see Evan Jagger start this race, so that is your start. Those are your starters in the 3,000-meter steeplechase.
28 barriers, 7 water jumps. We're underway here in the men's steeple. Women to follow. Stokes settling there in third as we make our way over the second barrier. Early advantage for Joey Berriatua of Tinman Elite.
Joey Baggs, as his teammates call him. Joey Baggs is a savvy veteran in this event. One of the things I've loved to see about Joey over the last couple of years is his steady progress. Even as he gets, I don't want to say older, but maybe more seasoned in this event, continues to run personal bests year after year. And this year, no different than the last. Joey qualifying yet again for a U.S. Championship Olympic trials and finding himself at the front of this race. Again, not wasting an opportunity. You know, the steeplechase is not contested at every meet, AJ, but these athletes, I've never run a steeplechase. I think I would crack in half if I ever tried. But a lot of athletes saying that, steeple is not one of these events that you necessarily negatively affect yourself running from the front. There's a lot to be gained by having a clear view of those hurdles as they approach, a great ability to judge that distance and run more comfortably up front. So Joey knows what he's doing, no doubt about it, as he leads a strong pack there in the front, followed by Duncan Hamilton and Dan Michalski and Parker Stokes.
Yeah, 29-year-old coming off 8:29, 7th place appearance in the final of the steeple at the U.S. Olympic trials. He's also competed in the 5,000, the 3,000 here in 2024. And Duncan Hamilton will take the lead duties here on the backstretch.
Yeah, we saw 65.8 and 65.5 as the last two splits for Duncan. 65 roughly equating to a low mid 18s finish in the steeplechase, which would be a great run for a lot of these guys. At this point in the season, some of the goals here, AJ, is just punching your ticket for next year's U.S. Championships. So, whether that's in the mid to lows or trying to, unfortunately, the window has not yet been opened for qualification times for next summer's World Championships, which will be on the minds of a lot of these athletes who did not qualify for the Paris Olympics. And so there's always something to chase, whether it be the steeple or a fast time. But as you see, Duncan Hamilton, Joey Berriatua, followed closely by Isaac Updike there. Isaac, obviously, Isaac had very ill-timed COVID diagnosis leading into the trials, so struggling with some long COVID symptoms. Represented the U.S. in Budapest the summer before after a third-place finish in the steeple at the 2023 U.S. Championships. But you got guys like Isaac, guys like Parker, who maybe racing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, knowing that we have not seen the best of them yet this season.
Hamilton, 6th place finish at the trials, 8:29.20, and you mentioned, hey, there's still plenty of things to run for, even if Paris was not achieved. You referenced your history with that. It's easy to view as heartbreak. It's easy maybe perhaps to try to view it as motivation for moving forward. What do you remember from your time? You're just on the outside looking in and how you responded to it. What's important for many of the athletes here in this event, this meet here today, for how to get the most out of their fitness even after coming off the trials?
Yeah, so it qualifying for the Olympic team or for a world championship team in the U.S. is cutthroat, right? We have probably the most fair qualification system of any country in the world. You come to our championships, you have the team, you finish top 3, you go, you represent Team USA. But what that does is apply a lot of stress for these athletes. And so right now, every single person that we're seeing right here, Alec, Basten, they're sort of making his move up into the top 4 right now. They're running stress-free because they're not worried about qualifying for the Olympics anymore. They're not worrying about, what is it going to take? Do I need to run that Olympic qualifying time? That stress is gone. They can run a bit more free, run a bit more relaxed. Again, you sort of just have, we are now 3 to 4 weeks after the Olympic trials. So there has to have been some time for healing. There has to have been some time for grieving. There also has to have been some time for some of these athletes for celebration. Parker Stokes coming off that NCAA championship. He stayed out in Oregon after NCAAs. And I remember seeing him there. We had an opportunity to chat and meet together in Eugene. And he said, man, this was stressful. Just sitting in Oregon. He went up to Bend in between NCAAs and the trials and just sitting there thinking about running. And he's like, in college, I had so much other stuff to think about all the time, so much other stuff to occupy my headspace. And now when it's just running all the time, that sometimes you can become your own worst enemy. So Duncan Hamilton, again, showing right now, he's obviously in great shape. You can see that by any athlete that finishes top 5, top 6 in any event across the board at USA's. But now it's time to put it together and put some extremely good performances on the line so that you don't necessarily need to chase those times next year, chase those world rankings, and you can put that fitness, that hard-earned fitness to use.
Yeah, there are more events, more meets to be run with beneficial results off a good time coming off the trials, and Hamilton trying to take advantage of that current fitness. Again, 6th at the U.S. trials. He's led a majority of this race here. We saw a moment ago Parker Stokes fading back a bit from that front pack, coming up on the bell lap here, just over 100 meters.
Isaac's coach, Pat Casey, there in the infield, cheering on his athlete. Isaac basically following stride for stride. Duncan Hamilton as they approach the bell here, as you were just talking about, AJ. This is going to be a great final 400 meters. Duncan Hamilton was shown up by Kenneth Rooks the last time that he raced a steeplechase on this track, trying to not let history repeat itself, but he's being stalked right now by Isaac Updike.
Isaac Updike, the 32-year-old, sitting on Hamilton right now. Does he have a move to make as they close in on the final water jump? Now on his shoulder, it's Updike and Hamilton. Updike has made his move. 200 meters to go. Updike taking the lead.
Let us not forget Hamilton. There's prize money on the line, AJ. We got prize money these athletes are running for, and Isaac's seeing dollar signs.
He's cleared the final water barrier. He's got a 10-meter gap. Isaac Updike coming off a 12th place finish at the U.S. Olympic trials where he went 8:35. He's going to win this one. A quick glance back. 8:19. Isaac Updike takes the steeple at the Sound Running Classic. 8:19.11 here, the Sunset Tour for Updike. Well run by Hamilton. Updike, quite the surge there, the final 250.
And there comes Casey Comer coming in just under 8:40 for his first ever attempt at the distance. That's a fantastic result for Comer. I hope he's pleased with that. The steeplechase is such a challenging event to get right. But yes, Isaac Updike, the way that he ran that race, AJ, that was someone who was looking to get his feet back underneath him. Maybe running the last few races prior to this as someone who hasn't exactly felt like himself for the last couple of months, as we were talking about those long COVID symptoms. But Isaac ran incredibly well, matching all the moves put down there by Duncan Hamilton over the last couple of laps, methodically running 69, 65, 66, 64, and then a 61 closing last lap for Updike. A little bit of a stutter over getting a little close to that last hurdle, but then closing very well, knowing that the win was in the bag. Under a sub 8:20 time is nothing to shake your head at.
His personal best is 8:17.47. That was in Nice last June.